And howdy, everybody. Welcome to Word Review number 29, where we will be covering Exodus chapters 7 and 8 today. As you know, where are we in the story? Where are we? Well, we're at chapters 7 and 8, right? Of course. That Pharaoh's heart is hardening. He doesn't want to let them go, which is exactly what Yah, the Father, told them. So, if you want to read along, BibleHub.com, eastward.net, blueletterbible.org, and KingJamesBibleOnline.org. And if you're real daring, /1611-Bible. Okay, let's go ahead and pray in, as usual. Father, thank you very much for bringing us together today as your children in Jesus Christ to study your word, your living word, from which we are always gathering fruit. And there's always something fresh to learn, as well as some of our old favorite meals. We ask your blessing on everybody here now and in the future. And, we just humbly ask that you remind us to seek you first in all things at all times. In Jesus Yeshua's name, amen. All right. Wait, what are we doing? There we go. There's so many buttons. There's so many buttons everywhere. Okay, here we go. Exodus 7. Thank you.
And the Lord said unto Moses, See, I have made thee a god to Pharaoh, and Aaron thy brother shall be thy prophet. Thou shalt speak all that I command thee, and Aaron thy brother shall speak unto Pharaoh, that he send the children of Israel out of his land. And I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and multiply my signs and my wonders in the land of Egypt. But Pharaoh shall not hearken unto you, that I may lay my hand upon Egypt, and bring forth mine armies and my people, the children of Israel, out of the land of Egypt by great judgments. And the Egyptians shall know that I am the Lord, when I stretch forth mine hand upon Egypt, and bring out the children of Israel from among them. And Moses and Aaron did as the Lord commanded them, so did they. And Moses was 80 years old, and Aaron 83 years old, when they spake unto Pharaoh. And the Lord spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, When Pharaoh shall speak unto you, saying, Show a miracle for you, then thou shalt say unto Aaron, Take thy rod, and cast it before Pharaoh, and it shall become a serpent. And Moses and Aaron went in unto Pharaoh, and they did so as the Lord had commanded. And Aaron cast down his rod before Pharaoh, and before his servants, and it became a serpent. Then Pharaoh also called the wise men and the sorcerers. Now the magicians of Egypt, they also did in like manner with their enchantments. For they cast down every man his rod, and they became serpents. But Aaron's rod swallowed up their rods. And he hardened Pharaoh's heart, that he hearkened not unto them, as the Lord had said. And the Lord said unto Moses, Pharaoh's heart is hardened, he refuseth to let the people go. Get thee unto Pharaoh in the morning. Lo, he goeth out unto the water, and thou shalt stand by the river's brink against he come. And the rod which was turned to a serpent shalt thou take in thine hand. And thou shalt say unto him, The Lord God of the Hebrews hath sent me unto thee, saying, Let my people go, that they may serve me in the wilderness. And behold, hitherto thou wouldest not hear. Thus saith the Lord, In this thou shalt know that I am the Lord. Behold, I will smite with the rod that is in mine hand upon the waters which are in the river, and they shall be turned to blood. And the fish that is in the river shall die, and the river shall stink, and the Egyptians shall loathe to drink of the water of the river. And the Lord spake unto Moses, Say unto Aaron, Take thy rod, and stretch out thine hand upon the waters of Egypt, upon their streams, upon their rivers, and upon their ponds, and upon all their pools of water, that they may become blood, and that there may be blood throughout all the land of Egypt, both in vessels of wood and in vessels of stone. And Moses and Aaron did so, as the Lord commanded. And he lifted up the rod, and smote the waters that were in the river in the sight of Pharaoh, and in the sight of his servants, and all the waters that were in the river were turned to blood. And the fish that was in the river died, and the river stank, and the Egyptians could not drink of the water of the river, and there was blood throughout all the land of Egypt. And the magicians of Egypt did so with their enchantments, and Pharaoh's heart was hardened, neither did he hearken unto them, as the Lord had said. And Pharaoh turned and went into his house, neither did he set his heart to this also. And all the Egyptians digged around about the river for water to drink, but they could not drink of the water of the river. And 7 days were fulfilled. After that, the Lord had smitten the river. Exodus 8. And the Lord spake unto Moses, Go unto Pharaoh, and say unto him, Thus saith the Lord, Let my people go, that they may serve me. And if thou refuse to let them go, behold, I will smite all thy borders with frogs, and the river shall bring forth frogs abundantly, which shall go up and come into thine house, and into thy bedchamber, and upon thy bed, and into the house of thy servants, and upon thy people, and into thine ovens, and into thy kneading troughs. And the frogs shall come up both on thee, and upon thy people, and upon all thy servants. And the Lord spake unto Moses, Say unto Aaron, Stretch forth thine hand with thy rod over the streams, over the rivers, and over the ponds, and cause frogs to come up upon the land of Egypt. And Aaron stretched out his hand over the waters of Egypt, and the frogs came up and covered the land of Egypt. And the magicians did so with their enchantments, and brought up frogs upon the land of Egypt. Then Pharaoh called for Moses and Aaron, and said, Entreat the Lord, that he may take away the frogs from me, and from my people, and I will let the people go, that they may do sacrifice unto the Lord. And Moses said unto Pharaoh, Glory over me, when shall I entreat for thee, and for thy servants, and for thy people, to destroy the frogs from thee, and thy houses, that they may remain in the river only? And he said, Tomorrow. And he said, Be it according to thy word, that thou mayest know that there is none like unto the Lord our God. And the frogs shall depart from thee, and from thy houses, and from thy servants, and from thy people. They shall remain in the river only. And Moses and Aaron went out from Pharaoh, and Moses cried unto the Lord because of the frogs, which he had brought against Pharaoh. And the Lord did according to the word of Moses, and the frogs died out of the houses, out of the villages, and out of the fields. And they gathered them together upon heaps, and the land stank. But when Pharaoh saw that there was respite, he hardened his heart, and hearkened not unto them, as the Lord had said. And the Lord said unto Moses, Say unto Aaron, Stretch out thy rod, and smite the dust of the land, that it may become lice throughout all the land of Egypt. And they did so. For Aaron stretched out his hand with his rod, and smote the dust of the earth, and it became lice in man and in beast. All the dust of the land became lice throughout all the land of Egypt. And the magicians did so with their enchantments to bring forth lice, but they could not, so there were lice upon man and upon beast. Then the magicians said unto Pharaoh, This is the finger of God. And Pharaoh's heart was hardened, and he hearkened not unto them, as the Lord had said. And the Lord said unto Moses, Rise up early in the morning, and stand before Pharaoh. Lo, he cometh forth to the water. And say unto him, Thus saith the Lord, Let my people go, that they may serve me. Else, if thou wilt not let my people go, behold, I will send swarms of flies upon thee, and upon thy servants, and upon thy people, and into thy houses, and the houses of the Egyptians shall be full of swarms of flies, and also the ground whereon they are. And I will sever in that day the land of Goshen, in which my people dwell, that no swarms of flies shall be there, to the end thou mayest know that I am the Lord in the midst of the earth. And I will put a division between my people and thy people. Tomorrow shall this sign be. And the Lord did so. And there came a grievous swarm of flies into the house of Pharaoh, and into his servants' houses, and into all the land of Egypt. The land was corrupted by reason of the swarm of flies. And Pharaoh called for Moses and for Aaron, and said, Go ye, sacrifice to your God in the land. And Moses said, It is not meet so to do, For we shall sacrifice the abomination of the Egyptians to the Lord our God. Lo, shall we sacrifice the abomination of the Egyptians before their eyes? And will they not stone us? We will go 3 days' journey into the wilderness, and sacrifice to the Lord our God, as he shall command us. And Pharaoh said, I will let you go, that ye may sacrifice to the Lord your God in the wilderness. Only ye shall not go very far away. Entreat for me. And Moses said, Behold, I go out from thee, and I will entreat the Lord that the swarms of flies may depart from Pharaoh, from his servants, and from his people tomorrow. But let not Pharaoh deal deceitfully any more, not letting the people go to sacrifice to the Lord. And Moses went out from Pharaoh, and entreated the Lord. And the Lord did according to the word of Moses, and he removed the swarms of flies from Pharaoh, from his servants, and from his people. There remained not one. And Pharaoh hardened his heart at this time also, neither would he let the people go.
How dare you! Okay, let's go back to chapter 7. And since I keep talking about the differences between the movie and actual scripture, I find it's interesting throughout all of this. It is Aaron who is whacking stuff with the rod, right? With his rod. I don't remember that from the movie. I could be wrong, though. I'm not a big Hollywood trivia buff. So, anyways, this is quite interesting. Moses is 80 years old. Right? 80, a score being 20. And Aaron was 83 when they spake unto Pharaoh. That's pretty old. So we have Aaron casting the rod and it becomes the serpent. The magicians do the same thing. Now we don't have anything told to us that Aaron and Moses practiced this. So can you kind of put yourself in Aaron's shoes? Put yourself in Aaron's sandals. You know, you're listening to Moses, you throw your rod down, it becomes a serpent. You're like, whoa, that is some mightiness right there. And then the magicians do the same thing. Talk about a roller coaster of emotion, right? Maybe they did practice it and I'm just forgetting it. But I don't recall it. So, anyways, you know, and Pharaoh called the wise men and the sorcerers in verse 11. The sorcerers, kashaf, whisper, to enchant, witchcraft, right? It's a little different than the word that's in the Greek. A little bit there. So, as we continue on in this, because they were able to reproduce that, in the morning, he strikes the river. And the river becomes blood. Everywhere they have water stored becomes blood. So now everybody has to dig a well to get fresh water. Very interesting, right? So all the fish died, the river stinks. And then we come on, and his heart's hardened, he's not going to let them go. So then we go to verse 8. And we get the second plague. Now he says he's going to smite all your borders with frogs. Now, occasionally there's toads here, But for those of you that are around areas with frogs, do you have a problem with them getting in everything? Getting in your ovens? Getting into your kneading troughs? What is this? Did you make raisin bread? No, it's baby frogs. No, thank you. What is, oh, tadpole surprise. Tadpole pudding. Breaded tadpole pudding. All right, enough of that. So now all the frogs come up, and the magicians also bring up frogs. You know, that's like, let my people go, and you take your rod and you light someone's house on fire. And then they say, that's nothing. We can do that too. And so they take their rod and they light the other end of their house on fire. Right? So you got, they're getting the double frog whammy because they want to prove how powerful they are. All right, can you see Pharaoh? Okay, that's great. Now get rid of the frogs. Oh, we didn't learn that one back in sorcery school. Okay, so as we go on here, after the frogs, what do we get? The frogs died. They stink. They pile them all up together, and the whole land stank. Stank! What is that stank? Okay, so Pharaoh gets his heart hardened. He hardened his heart. He did. Started out with the Lord hardening his heart, right? So then this says gnats. Okay, so let's see what that word is, because it's here, it's lice. All right, let's look at that. Lice, Hebrew 3654. Okay. 3661 in the sense of fastening, so something that latches on, a parasite. A gnat, I don't know. From infixing its sting, I've not been around those gnats. Doesn't mean they don't exist. 3661 is to set or plant. Kanan. Okay. Interesting. So lice in man and beast, all the dust of Egypt became lice. Tell you what, I've been to Egypt. There's a lot of dust there. A lot of dust. A lot of dust. More so than there is in Arizona or California or Texas or New Mexico. There's a lot of sand and a lot of dust. And for that sand to all turn into lice, wow. Just amazing. What's that lice shampoo they make the kids get? Okay, now from 20 to the end of the chapter, 20 to 21, 20 to 31, everywhere that it says swarms of flies is added to the text. So what are these swarms of? All right. Well, they're flies. See, it says flies. No, it doesn't say that. Swarms, Hebrew 6157. Ooh, a mosquito. Ooh, now that I've seen. Why would they translate that as flies? From Hebrew 6148, which is braid, intermix, traffic. But a mosquito, that is very interesting. I was taken on a tour through a swamp state park somewhere, and we went through this really dark section, and I was wearing a black shirt, long sleeve shirt. When we came out, my niece said, "Oh, look at all those mosquitoes." And everybody says, "Where?" She said, "On Jonathan's shirt." I looked down and there was hundreds stuck on me. So I can't even imagine what this is like. Especially since they're all probably digging in. Unless you eat as much garlic as I do. And if you do, you're going to be kissed by neither mosquito nor other people. By people. Okay. So let's say swarms of mosquitoes here. That's a pretty nasty thing. And so now they're arguing about how far they're not arguing, they're negotiating how far they're gonna go out to do the sacrifice. And Moses is saying, hey, we're gonna be sacrificing lambs and rams. You know, those are an abomination to the Egyptians. Remember back when Joseph brought his father and brethren down to Egypt, and it was said the shepherd is an abomination to the Egyptian. Okay, well, here we're re-emphasizing that. Right? We're going to go 3 days journey into the wilderness. So this sounds like maybe Moses isn't given the full story. Right? Just let us go a little bit further and we're out of here. Listening to Christopher Cross, Ride Like the Wind. Okay. Okay, so we got more swarms. So also too, note, what was that up here? In verse 23. Right? This is where Yah, Father, makes the plagues only affect the Egyptians after this. And I will put a division between my people and thy people, and tomorrow shall this sign be. So this is only on the Egyptians getting the mosquitoes. It's probably because Israelites cooked with the garlic. I don't know. Maybe it's because they had lamb and mint all the time. Maybe it was the mint. I don't know. But Pharaoh hardened his heart at that time also. So no. After Moses intercedes and gets the mosquitoes taken care of, then that's pretty much it. That's not what I wanted. What are we doing here? There we go. Okay. So that's it for today. What's happening next? Well, I guess it's going to be the 5th plague, huh? So, next time we'll be reading chapters 9 and 10 in the book of Exodus. So, if you want, read ahead. You can go kingjamesbibleonline.org, blueletterbible.org, biblehub.com, esword.net, and check it out. Right? Study to show yourself approved unto God, a workman that needeth not be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. Take it to heart. Like, share, subscribe, pass it on, pass it on. Okay, love you all. We'll talk soon. Bye.